Hi, my name is Darko, and I have a problem. It started a few months back at a motorcycle show where a unique opportunity presented itself. Without a second thought or considering the consequences, I heard these words tumble out of my mouth. I'll buy her. It was an exhilarating moment. My body was buzzing like electricity flowing through my veins. I felt like I was standing on the edge of the universe, unstoppable. But what started as pure excitement quickly morphed into, what was I thinking? How would I explain this to my wife? And then like a lightning bolt, a brilliant plan hit me. I'll buy it as an investment. And that's how I ended up with my 2001 Kawasaki Ninja ZX-12R jewel of a barn find. So you might be asking, what problem do you have? Well, I'm glad you asked. The problem is, I don't want to sell her. There it is, I said it, I don't want to sell her. But I did say I want to make a profit. So before I figure out what I can, what I could, or what I should do, there are a few things I need to finish first. And in this episode, we'll start off with bleeding the front brakes, align the brake pads. Yes, brake pads need alignment. And I bet some of you didn't know that, but that's cool. Neither did I. Then we'll mill a bracket, modify the front frame sliders, machine new rear spools, but not necessarily in that order. Just making sure the old girl is feeling limber before we put her to work. I know what you're thinking. This was considered modern? And yes, once upon a time in a galaxy far, far away.
Hey there, awesome people. If you love this video, or even if you didn't, give it a thumbs up so we know you're still with us. And while you're at it, hit that subscribe button so we can spam your inbox with more amazing content. Oh, and leave a comment below. We'd love to hear from you.
You have to agree, the rework frame slider looks dope. A ripper, a Zalcon, and even a cannon. No matter the slang, I do have one issue, and it's not the frame slider itself, it's the mounting bracket behind it. The mounting bracket doesn't seem strong enough to withstand more than a curb drop. As it sits, this bracket will bend, and it'll bend quick. But that's good news, because during impact, you want to soften the blow and not transfer all the load to the head. Because trust me, it doesn't turn out well. It really messes things up in your head. Before I remove the bike from the rear stand, I have to loosen the rear spool bolts. One or two things is going to happen. Either the bolts will come out easily, or they'll just spin in place. If they spin, it means the threads are corroded. Steel bolts can cause corrosion in aluminum over time. And what you're seeing isn't dirt, it's aluminum dust. This is going to be interesting. Cool. Both spools came off easily. Now let's take a closer look at the threads. And this one with the dust looks better than I expected. And the other one looks even better. I think we dodged the proverbial bullet here. Before installing any bolts, I'll need to clean the threads. Now, this doesn't mean you have to rush out and replace your steel bolts with stainless ones. However, if your bike is more than 5 years old, I recommend removing the bolts, cleaning them, and putting a metal anti-seize paste on. This will help with the corrosion. And for those riders who plan to track their bikes, I would replace the steel bolts. The reason being is one low side or a track excursion, you won't have any spools left. Talking from experience. It's spool time. And finally, the front brakes. And it's only taken me 3 weeks to get here. Now, I've been aiming to keep the bike as original as possible, exhausting all options before considering alternatives. And the front brakes are no exception. And here's the original brake line T. I tried duplicating it with this billet aluminum, but I noticed that turning the handlebars lock to lock strained the brake line connections, which would inevitably lead to failure over time. And it's always at the worst moment. So I opted to run 2 brake lines from the master cylinder, one for each caliper. These items were purchased from the same retailer who used original brake lines to match all the pieces needed for the new lines. However, there's one problem. Did you catch it? Watch the assembly at normal speed and focus on the radial holes. The last radial hole is misaligned by a thickness of a washer, just 1 millimeter or approximately 1/25 of an inch. When I remove the washer, the banjo fitting sits almost directly over the center of the radial hole. However, without the washer, there won't be a tight seal. And most important, if a radial hole in a banjo bolt is partially covered, it can cause restricted fluid flow, pressure buildup, increased wear, and erratic operation. And trust me, I know this firsthand. It's funny now, but not then. Here's the replacement part, which according to my supplier, should work perfectly. And everything seems to fit so far. At this stage, I'll run the brake lines without tightening anything just yet. Okay. And at this moment, the brake lines appear to have been installed by an amateur, meaning me. Therefore, I'll need to carefully adjust the routing to prevent binding or rubbing against other cables.
Hey there, awesome people. If you loved this video, or even if you didn't, give it a thumbs up so we know you're still with us. And while you're at it, hit that subscribe button so we can spam your inbox with more amazing content. Oh, and leave a comment below. We'd love to hear from you.
Once you believe everything is properly routed, turn the handlebars a few times to allow the lines to settle into position. And after that, tighten all the bolts. This ensures minimal stress on the joints. Once all the bolts are tightened, it's time to bleed the brakes. If the banjo bolts aren't torqued properly, you'll quickly find out. Leaks will appear and achieving a firm lever feel will be impossible. I use a vacuum pump for bleeding. It's much quicker, especially when you're doing it 10 times a season. That said, you can still opt for the old-fashioned method of pumping and releasing air to the caliper. I won't bore you with any of those details, as there are plenty of great videos out there covering the process. After everything is completed, give the wheels, calipers, and other components a good cleaning with soap and water. This ensures any brake fluid residue is cleaned off. There's a few more tasks left to tackle. And the next one is align the front calipers and brake pads. Remember, this step is essential every time you remove the brake calipers. And if I can handle it, I know you can too. Make sure the front caliper bolts are loose. Apply brake lever a few times and hold. Tighten the caliper bolts and release. Apply the brake lever again a few times and hold. Torque the bolts to specification. Easy enough. Moving on. Clutch and brake levers need a smooth, consistent action. While this might not matter as much on the streets, while on the track, levers must align perfectly with the wrist for optimal control. Otherwise, rolling off the throttle while simultaneously applying the front brake lever could bring a new meaning to the phrase, reach for the moon. And let's be honest, who amongst us hasn't occasionally mistaken the streets for a racetrack? Word. Now is a great time to replace those old rusty bolts. Now that the levers are adjusted to the way I like them, I wonder if there's enough space between the levers, my fingers, and the fairing. For now, I'm leaving the levers in this position because I'm proud that I accomplished more than I expected. And on that note, thank you for staying to the very end. Remember, always hug your pets. Until next time, take care. Cut! I really need to get a freaking cruiser.